Zoomers think Bin Laden had a point. Why are you surprised? I wouldn't say that I had a happy childhood, certainly not by modern Western standards. There were no fun play groups, after-school sports clubs, Halloween parties, fancy dress events, or movie nights. Most of my preteen years were spent doing what a lot of Soviet kids of my generation did. Hang around the kitchen table, listening to adults talk. Hang around the dining room, listening to adults talk. Hang around the living room, you get the point. And when my parents' or grandparents' apartment wasn't filled with their adult friends and relatives, they would often talk to me and tell me stories. As I grew older, the stories went from the usual fairy tales to being stories of our past. These were not fun stories. They were not inspiring. They were not uplifting. Happy endings were conspicuous by their absence. As a kid, I couldn't understand why adults would spend their time retelling and reliving these horrible events that they were telling me about. Why did my grandmother tell me about watching her baby brother starve to death after the communists kicked them out of their house for being kulaks, rich peasants accused of hoarding grain and supplies? Why did my father's stepmother tell me about being born in a gulag? Why did she tell me about the gulag guards, many of whom shot themselves when Stalin died and was denounced by the party, who were suddenly forced to confront the reality that rather than doing good, they had in fact been complicit in his crimes? You might be asking the same question. Why? Aren't children supposed to have fun? Aren't we all supposed to have fun? Isn't that what life is about? Pleasure, joy, and above all, fun? Why inflict such nightmarish realities on the fragile mind of a child who lives in a different world and will never face the terrible realities of the past? Why should our children read the Gulag Archipelago, Everything Flows, or watch Schindler's List? They're not exactly fun. It was only much later, when I saw what was happening in the West with my own eyes, that I understood the why. We teach our children about the tragic realities of the past because unless we do, they will repeat them. This is what Orwell meant when he said that he who controls the past controls the future, and he who controls the present controls the past. This is why I'm surprised that anyone is surprised by the recent revelations that TikTok Zoomers have discovered Osama Bin Laden's letter to America, and it opened their eyes to the evils of the US. How are you surprised by this? What did you think was happening? Why did you think so many of us who have seen all this play out before have been warning you so loudly about it? You have to understand the consequences of the things that you understand. You understand that our children are not being taught history objectively. They're being taught to view their own civilization and its values as wrong, immoral, and uniquely evil. What did you think the consequences of this would be? You understand that our children are not being taught the Martin Luther King dream of people being treated on the content of their character. They're being taught that some people are more equal than others. Few of them could reliably identify where that quote even comes from. They haven't read Animal Farm. They have not been inoculated against the Marxist disease. On the contrary, a new and improved version of the Marxist disease has been force-fed down their throats by their teachers and lecturers. Why would you expect them not to succumb to it? You understand that they have been given a single lens through which to view every interaction, every conflict, every war. In any situation, the first question is, who is the oppressor and who is the oppressed? Like a teacher who is late to a fight in the playground, all they see is that whoever is losing the fight is the victim, and whoever is winning the fight is the bully. As long as the West is strong, they will be predisposed to hating it. They don't understand that they'll be the ones that suffer most when Pax Americana ends. You understand that not only is this generation even more historically ignorant than my own, it is also extraordinarily lucky. They grew up in a world without existential threats. So did their parents. In many cases, so did their grandparents. They have neither the historical context nor the personal experience to give them a grounding in how the real world works. Schools, colleges, universities, the media, and most of all their parents have failed to prepare this generation not just to defend their own civilization, but to even know why it's worth defending. Why are you surprised that they're morally unprepared for this moment? Before you go, a couple of quick things. First of all, these videos are based on articles I write on my Substack. If you want to get them first, get early access by subscribing now. Secondly, let me take a minute to recommend a longevity supplement by Verso. In our recent interview with Tim Urban, he said,
"We should be talking about longevity and longevity science."
Researchers like the biologist David Sinclair have recently made some fascinating discoveries on how to mitigate or even slow down aging altogether, and that is why I'm using Verso. Verso is a company that translates these incredible scientific breakthroughs into products that hold the potential to increase your longevity. And one of their products that I take every day is Cell Being. Cell Being helps combat aging by increasing something called NAD+ in your body. Now, NAD is arguably the most important molecule in your body. High NAD levels improve your metabolism, repair damaged DNA, and increase energy production in your brain, immune system, and muscles. But as you grow old, your body's NAD levels go down and you can't take NAD as a supplement because it's too big for your cells to absorb. That's why Verso Cell Being contains NMN, resveratrol, and TMG. These three molecules work together to increase your NAD+ levels. If you want to read more about this, check out the scientific research linked in the description of this video. Plus, Verso publishes third-party testing on every batch of its products to guarantee that you're getting exactly what you're paying for. So, if you want to join me, you can get 15% off going to ver.so, that's ver.so, and use our code TRIGGER to save 15% off your order. By the way, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the one I did about how terrible ideas take over society, where I explain why the world makes less and less sense every day.